And now we move on in our second series of the night. Once again, Game 1 of Invictus Gaming taking on LAI Gaming. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers. Welcome into D2L Season 5. This is our kickoff day, beginning with the Eastern Division. And yeah, we've already had some good Dota under our belt. Looking forward to even more now as IG takes on LAI Gaming and looks to make it 2 in a row in their last 2 meetings. Welcome in, as always, Trout for the insight and analysis. And yeah, man, if there's anything we've been seeing a lot of, at least tonight, and generally I would say this applies across the board to just the way Dota's played right now, is a lot of team fight, a lot of mobility, and Invictus not going to shy away from that. Centaur and Ancient Apparition, the first 2 pickups. It's Rubik and Viper to follow on the side of LAI.
Yeah, they also had just the first overall pick, and they used it for Centaur.
Yeah.
It seems to be June's signature hero. He really loves to play that Centaur. I've seen. It seems like every single game I've seen IG play, they pick the Centaur for June, and when they don't, they usually lose. To be honest. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, yeah, I always get it screwed up. Sometimes I think the top side is is Radiant and the bottom side is Dire. But I have to say here, I don't want to go on a rant, but there is a significant difference, I think. Well, obviously, between the Dire offlane now and the Radiant offlane, whereas before the Radiant offlane pre-patch 6.82 was extremely strong in comparison to the Dire offlane, but now it's the complete reversal, because not only do they change how fast the safe lane creeps get there, but they change the off lane creeps get there too. And the combination of them both makes the Dire off lane so freaking easy to block. You block it just for a little bit, it will almost always be safely right in front of your tower, but not too close up to where the tower is actually hitting it. And so that's why superior offlaners like Centaur or even Void are actually better now on Dire. Not to mention, you still have a little bit of an easier access to Roshan than Radiant. So I think Centaur is gonna thrive here well in this game for IG.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting to hear you say that, because right now, I mean, it's just like anything in Dota. It depends on who you ask. Do you ask a commentator? Do you ask a pro player? Depending on what position the player plays and so on, sometimes you'll get different opinions. But that is something that I've been hearing bandied about a lot, is the idea that not only is the Radiant offlane much stronger, but in general, the offlane position on both sides is really taking on an increased importance, not just in terms of a solo offlane, but even how effectively you can go aggressive if you want to try that. So obviously still very early in the development of this patch, and it's going to be weeks and months before we really start to see everything figured out. But it does, in my mind, at least from a caster's point of view, create a lot more of a, I don't want to say a dull early game, but like when things happen, it's not quite as easy to gank those offlane positions, not quite as easy to make things happen. And we saw that even in our series to lead things off, where there was some action early, but for the most part, it was a lot of collapsing onto mid. So yeah, I really want to see, not just in this series, but looking ahead, the way the teams and players make these adjustments. So the second ban phase is done. Bat and Void actually survived the first ban phase, did not survive the second, as they're both taken out by Invictus. Sand King and the Necrophos actually banned out on the side of LAI, so waiting to see what their pick's going to be on the other side of that ban phase.
I really like Rubik. I think I've said this so many times when we've cast together too. There's something about the hero that it seems like he's just got it all. Like, I've talked at great length about how, you know, a lot of people will say, oh, Rubik you want more of a support that does damage. Yeah, I think Rubik actually does a decent amount of damage, to be honest. Like, the Fade Bolt's not bad. It also reduces damage, so it's very good at D-push. Right. And it's still a nuke. Like, there's still some supports that don't really have that much of a nuke, to be honest.
Right.
And I mean, take for example like Sand King. I mean, Sand King is a completely different hero, but doesn't offer any damage early on. Whereas Rubik also has control with the telekinesis and the magic resistance, and then of course the spell steal, which is the best spell, obviously being his ultimate. But already right out the gate, you see I could steal some decent spells from Centaur. Not the greatest from Ancient Apparition, but I mean, there's still only 2 heroes out of 5 picked. So I love seeing teams that pick up Rubik. I really do.
Well, when it comes to Rubik, and you know, these things change always based on patches, based on metagame and what have you. But it always stood out to me that going back, and we're talking 2 years ago now, whenever I was actually casting with Puppy way back in the day, and he said that forever, for as long as he could remember, he thought Rubik was the most complete support in the game because of all the reasons you just named. He has a disable that can disable more than one if it's properly used. Fade Bolt is an underrated spell, I think. And of course, he's one of the few true hard supports that really has big play potential because of his ultimate. Like, he can grab the biggest ability in a game and turn it around. So seeing it picked up this early, still a bit of an oddity, but I do like to see the Rubik getting a lot more play now. Spectre picked up by LAI Gaming following the Visage. Ogre Magi makes an appearance courtesy of Invictus. We'll see what they want to pair with that. How do you feel about the Ogre? Ogre's really been getting a lot of love across all geographic regions lately.
He has been. Yeah, actually, I was watching the game tonight for the Summit qualifiers for NA. I saw him played as a core position. I think it was solo mid. I've been seeing it picked up a lot lately, and it's the tweaks to his multicast. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but I know that they reduced the damage of Firebolt, and I think they increased the chance that you have to multicast. I think that's what they did. But yeah, I think it's just more of the fact that he's just a tanky support. So he's a support that doesn't die. His base armor is ridiculous at level 1. It's like 6 or 7 or something like that. And he's got a setup. He's got a point stun. Oh, you know what else it was? It's the Bloodlust that doesn't get removed from BKB or things like that. I think that's the biggest thing, especially when they picked up a Phantom Assassin. So you throw that on a Phantom Assassin, she pops a BKB, and it doesn't go away. It's a pretty nice combo.
Yeah, I was gonna let you finish the thought. I'm double checking. I wanted to
You're
see
testing
if
me.
No, not even that. Dude, if you say something and I think it's different, I'm still going to side with you most of the time. That's why you're here.
I'm wrong a lot too, so don't worry. I wouldn't do that.
But yeah, the Ogre Magi, with any hero that naturally wants to have magic immunity, especially BKB heroes like a Phantom Assassin who's going to want that item sooner than later, that's really where we're beginning to see him come into his own. And he's pretty strong in lane. I mean, he could deal aggression out just because of the strength of Fire Blast, but he's also very nice with Ignite, very strong ability, and the ability to set up for other stuns. For example, a Centaur War Runner, for example. Not to say they're going to go aggressive. In fact, I'd be a little surprised if that was going to be the case. But he does just work so well with those heroes that do depend on magic immunity, and PA, as of right now, one of the best in the business. LAI Gaming rounds out their lineup with another greenish-bluish hero. That's going to be the Tidehunter, making that appearance, and now IG answers immediately with a Weaver.
I actually really like LAI or LAI. I'm going to get confirmed. I'll just say LAI. I'll go along with you, but I really like LAI Gaming's lineup right now. I really do. Like Spectre, I'm a big fan. Like when people think about, and I've heard different opinions about people talking about what they think is like the quintessential hard carry. Like if you were to name a hard carry that you would rather have more farm on than any other hero in the game, for me, I would say Spectre. I think Spectre is like the quintessential hard carry. Not because she does the most damage like to a hero or does the most single target damage. That would probably be like a Legion Commander with 400 dual damage or something. But because of her ability to just control and destroy the supports in the late game, where they completely become a non-factor if she gets to that point. And with the recent buffs to her not Stifling Dagger, but the Spectral Dagger, I think she actually has a little bit more of a place in the lanes. And just the overall changes in the patch in general seem to have favored her. And when you pair her up with a hero like Visage, for example, who just kind of wins you the lane, like you were saying, they probably won't go aggressive. I was thinking, oh, maybe they can, but wait a second, it's really hard to go aggressive against a Visage, which actually it looks like they might do. So we'll talk about that in a second. But it does make it a little more difficult with proper positioning.
Well, the Weaver gives them much more of an option there. I mean, the issue with going up against a lane like this, Visage and Rubik just naturally work together very, very well. And I'm getting a little bit of lag on my side. So hopefully...
Is it in-game? Is it the Perfect World servers? It could be the Chinese servers.
Yeah, no. Everything else seems to be functioning. Okay. So I think the issues that plagued us earlier are not going to be a problem. But anyway... But yeah, I mean, you're talking about a Rubik and a Visage. Being able to grab someone, bring them back, and then grave chill them. And just pursue them out, build up the damage, and let loose once you're level 2 anyway. Within what's up?
Oh, there's a pause, but they're doing Spectre mid. I really like this. It's going to be a tri-lane. So they expected, for one, a tri-lane aggressive with Weaver because they've already put the Spectre mid and they put Viper bottom. But they also bought Sentry Wards. And people think on paper that Weaver in a tri-lane, especially aggressively, is like, oh, it's good. I can move around. It's hard for them to kill me because I have haste. But I actually think it's very overrated. Because if you have any, like especially with the lift, if she comes in there, Sakuchi thinks she's invulnerable and Goliath and can do whatever she wants. It was one sentry, she's dead because that cooldown for Sakuchi at level 1 is very, very long. So she has to be very, very careful and can't ever use it aggressively if that sentry ward's down. So I like what LAI Gaming has done here. And for their offlane, who's their offlane here? It's Tide versus what looks like it's going to be a Centaur. That's fine.
Centaur.
That's a fine matchup.
Yep. Tidal love that matchup, actually. And we're actually going to see a little bit of trouble potentially down near the Radiant jungle. they rushed up and thought better of it. So chasing them away. Bounty room picked up by Centaur, and Chuan's going to grab that haste. Again, a little bit of server lag, it seems. But, oh boy. The joy of casting Chinese Dota.
Yep.
And,
I'm lucky, and I actually don't have anything. I'm on the lucky side. By the way, do you know who CH is playing the Ogre Magi?
That's Chibug, isn't it? I think so.
Okay.
Like, I've got the lineup that I have in front of me, Chizbug.
Okay.
I'm guessing that's who it is because you've got Chizbug and Chuan.
Right. Yeah.
And
okay.
that would make the most sense. But at any rate, IG, gosh, this is tough. This is really unpleasant, actually. Like I'm just dropping about three or four frames every second. So.
I have to say something funny though.
What's that?
No. Okay, so Visage blocked his own pole camp, and then he used 2 counter wards to find a ward that was never there. I'm literally watching. Look at. I don't know if you can see if it's copied. And now there's a ward being placed, but he's not going to counter it right away because he probably didn't see him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is hilarious. He literally blocked. I'm pretty sure he blocked it himself. He was standing really close to it. I was like, dude. And now he's looking for ward. That's actually really bad because I just talked about how sentries are so good in lane against a Weaver, and they're not going to have that when he Sakuchi's in lane aggressively like that. So, oh boy, what a bad way to start the defensive tri-lane for LAI Gaming.
All right, what I'm going to try to do is to attempt to reconnect because this is not going to go well if it continues like this. So what I would like you to do, if you can, is just go ahead and talk about what's going on while I
can do that
and come back.
Yep, I can do that. It looks like it's just, obviously a tri bottom. Nothing happening just yet. There's a Ignite actually leveled up level 1 for Ogre, from Ogre Magi, so just throwing it on the Viper of all heroes, who actually already has Corrosive Skin leveled up, so he's ready for these engagements. The Ancient Apparition is checking the bottom rune. It is a DD. Spotted out, though, by Super. I still think that's hilarious that he actually did finally find the ward that was on the left side, so he countered it out. He's like, I did find your ward, but little does he know he actually blocked it himself. And then the Tide, pulling up some CS charts. He's 11-2 compared to the 8, actually 12-2 compared to the 8-2 of the Centaur. And there's the first blood actually being shown. 5-4-0-0 gets it. They might get Luo as well. He doesn't have Sakuchi for 1 second. And a double kill coming out for the Rubik early on. They do trade the Viper's life for it. But I'm sure that's a trade they'll be willing to accept as Rubik has 900 gold under his belt right now. And the lane is still in their favor, so a very nice startup. That's actually without sentry wards in the lane, too. So if they can get their hands onto another pair of those, it's going to be that much easier. So nice start off for LAI Gaming. I see that you're back. Is it any better?
Much better.
Okay,
so
good.
Sorry we missed that, guys, but trust me, it's going to end up being much more worthwhile as this game goes on. It was literally dropping probably 5-6 frames a second, if not more. It was really, really unpleasant to watch. But we are back, and it looks like in my absence, you're doing your best AC impression, man. Going straight radio, calling to play-by-play audio only. 2-1. LAI pulls ahead.
There you go. And yeah, the thing is like they didn't even use the sentries like I mentioned. And Weaver, if he comes in aggressively with Sakuchi, if it's not a higher rank, it's still only rank 1. You can't stick around anymore. You have to Sakuchi and run away. And he tried to Sakuchi a second. Oh, he could be dead again.
Yep, he's going to Shikuchi. There's going to be the Fire Blast to buy him some time. Look how much damage he was eating there, though. That was actually ridiculous. Just when he rotated over and was trying to just get in the way, just trying to get in the way of that pull, you saw that like the damage output from Super just right-clicking him was enough to get him down significantly. So he actually, like you said, came very close to dropping there. 4 minutes in, and there's going to be a bounty spawning at bottom and a regen that looks like will be picked up by Ferrari.
Yeah, and they've abandoned this lane. They realize that this lane is garbage, and I'm sorry, like, but I really feel like these Weaver tri lanes, I've seen them a lot, are just overrated. I don't think they're that good in tries, and I think that, as you mentioned,
XDT,
Tide.
top.
Yep.
Juwan had rotated over. There's the stomp to follow. And, he crackened. He crackened out of it. Otherwise, he might have dropped. Very nice. Very fortunate there for XTT.
Yep, very nice indeed. Ferrari is still, let's see, he's mid against the Spectre, doing very, very well. 22-5, I still think he has an edge, but I still actually think that Spectre can get CS, so Ferrari showing that I still think he's like the best solo mid in all of China. Despite IG not having the best results, this guy is a beast in mid. One of my favorite players to watch.
Luo, once again, taking a little bit of damage. Super, hit him with the Grave Chill. Rubik not quick enough to get on top of him for a telekinesis. How do you feel about this rotation up the top? Now sending the Ogar and the and the Ancient Apparition up. XTT is already, the issue I think I have with this is he's already had a great lane.
Exactly.
He's almost level 6. It's like, if you're going to do this, at this point, why not collapse mid or, try to do something like that instead of just go ahead and zone a Tidehunter out who doesn't care that he's zoned out now.
I mean, they need to go top if they have killing potential. Like, they were so close that one time, but that you can't have that. That's basically kind of a fail. Like, they need to kill him if they're going to rotate top. I do agree with their decision to leave bottom. Like, I think that was a lost cause. But I kind of agree with you. I think maybe smoking and doing something mid before the Spectre is 6, and now Spectre is 6, so if he wants to expend the ultimate to get away, he can do so. And the bigger picture is that the supports aren't going to get as much as the supports on LAI. I say that actually as the Ancient Apparition's level 4, so Chuan doing good for himself there.
June's about to hit 6 himself, and this should be level 6 off this wave, and it will be for the Tidehunters. So Ravage on call and ready. In the meantime, the Ogre, watching this top rune spot, will end up being a haste. I think that's a haste underneath him. It is. So haste picked up, and at bottom, that'll be the bounty, of course. But yeah, I mean, 2-1, I feel like LAI is going to be really happy with the way this laning phase went. The Weaver is not doing great. He's sitting at just 11 CS now. He's actually right there with the Ancient Apparition of all heroes. And IG is yet to counterpunch, even though they've moved across the map. Now they might want to try to push. There's going to be a lift on the Luo and the Dust as well. But no grave chill. So he makes it back to the tier 2 safely.
I don't think Grave would have done much because he was kind of far away, and he retains the haste until it's over, and he would have gotten far enough away. There's an Ogre coming with a backstab, but they need another TP ready to go, I think. Yep, there it is.
Super's in trouble. He's going to end up dying right here for sure. Now it's only a question of if Luo can get away, he can. And they're going to try to follow this up. They've got the Rubik coming in. There's the telekinesis. Can he stun? No, he actually threw him backwards. So now Ferrari able to pursue the Viper. And yeah, this is going to be another big kill. So that's going to make it 3-3, and they're not done. Engaging now onto the Rubik, and coup de grace indeed. Ferrari notches a double kill, and a quick pause as our dearly departed, you going to blame lag? Can't speak Chinese, but that's what it is, lag.
Probably someone DCing or
look at top, BT dubs. Yep. June in a bit of trouble as the Spectre haunted in and being pursued by XTT. Looks like he ravaged in the middle of that as well.
Yeah, I can't tell if the Spectral Dagger was... No, it's actually on 9-second cooldown, so he's still getting the movement speed buff, but interesting to see there. But yeah, nice procs there from Ferrari for 30. He had a haste rune in the middle of that. He actually still has it for a little bit of time. And a good rotation, very nicely done. Set up also by the Ogre coming in with the backstab, so making the best out of a bad situation. Looked pretty grim early on, but they're battling back nicely.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say also, I've talked so much about how Spectre is good in this metagame, but PA is also one of the better carry heroes this metagame as well, and being played by one of the best Chinese players.
Well, I feel like, Spectre, or the PA rather, getting off to a nice start. Spectre's done okay-ish. I mean, she's gotten her levels, as you said. We saw the level 6 use there. 20 CS is running about half of Ferrari's PA. But, Spectre is just such a damn monster come late game that IG is basically where they need to be, but they still have I feel like they need to execute and continue to execute. They're not in a position where they could just go, okay, we've done enough. Like, they need to make sure they never let that Spectre really hit her stride. And Ferrari's notching kills and not just farming and trying to go toe-to-toe with a late game Spectre, but finding picks and wins and objectives elsewhere on the map. Looks like our pause should be coming to an end momentarily. But while it is still paused, for all information, by the way, about D2L Season 5, please check out D2L GG. All of our schedule and the way the tournament works, our grand finals, LAN finals in Las Vegas, coming up first week of January at CES. Really hope a lot of you listening right now have a chance to join us for that. But yeah, make sure you check it out. It's reskinned and looking kind of sexy.
Nice, good stuff. But yeah, I think the PA just did so well in mid. And it's a big problem for the Spectre, obviously. And like, obviously, PA is going to get pretty much every single last hit. But I feel like Spectre can do the same. I don't think that PA can pressure Spectre off early enough to, like, make him scared to come up in last hit, at least before he gets the level 6. Yeah, well, I mean, the Dagger is still decent harass, but most of the time you're using Dagger to get CS, because even if it's against a Spectre, because sometimes you get in those little awkward moments where you're like, okay, if I go for this CS attack, I actually physically can't get this one. But that's what the Spectral Dagger, or the God, I've been reversing them so much. The Stifling Dagger is great because you can like hit that one, dagger that one at the same time, so you can get every single last hit no matter what. So yeah, and also if it's under your tower, it makes it easier to time it as well. So yeah, PA can get every single one. It makes me wonder if maybe he should have got a Quelling Blade on Spectre, but I do think his CS should be a little bit higher, to be honest.
As it stands, as we said, running about half of that. Number 2 on the CS board is actually that Tidehunter, and this is what we were talking about. They eventually collapsed top and abandoned that aggressive lane down at bottom, but leading up to that, the Tidehunter had a ball and already used the Ravage, and it looks like they're going to be able to grab June. June Stampede is on cooldown and wouldn't have had enough mana anyway. So, just waiting on the return of our Rubik, which means I guess we just get to chat a little bit. Good to be back on the mic with you, man. And you've resumed your post as the talking monster fridge next to me in the studio.
You know, my girlfriend joked about it because I think for the Western scene, I'm gonna bust out the cam or bust out the webcam.
Yeah, for sure.
That was sent to me, and she's like, "We should just buy a monster fridge and put it behind you."
Exactly. But it's fun. It's fun. I wish you were here, man. Wish you were here. We actually were conspiring to make sure you were here for that, and it just didn't work out. But studio, really happy with some of the upgrades we've done, and hopefully we'll have you in at some point in the near future.
Them EG Doto players, they need their space in their room.
Sure enough.
So, yep. Hopefully sometime in the future, but...
Well, I guess at the moment, I can remind everyone you can find us on Twitter. I'm at EC, at AYESEE. He's at Tralfdota, TRALFDOTA. Wish we could talk more about context of the D2L, but obviously our first play date means, we're just trying to figure things out just the same as you are. So you can also follow the D2L on Facebook and Twitter as well for all of your updates regarding when we're going to be live and everything else. Once again, this tournament will culminate in January with a $50,000 prize pool, plus, of course, the what's added from the tickets. And the ticket not in right now, so those watching live in client, you're getting the show for free. Hope all of you will take the time to go buy a ticket once it's out. Comes with a cool Void item. It'll contribute to the prize pool, and all of that will just add to the hype at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. Again, that'll be in January. Tralf and I in there in the flesh, along with 4 teams, 2 from each division. The format, by the way, for those that are new to D2L play, we've been doing this for a few years now, is whoever finishes first in our group stage, which is a round robin, 8 teams, so every team plays 7 best of 3s, 1 against every other team. The team that finishes first goes directly to the LAN. The other 4 best teams, so number 2, 3, 4, and 5, in their respective divisions, will play in a bubble race, which I don't see enough of that in competitive. I
really like that.
I love it too.
It's much more hype, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Well, you wind up with great stories like Fnatic last year at D2L Season 4. Fnatic came in as a 5 seed and won their way to the LAN and actually played really, really well at LAN, even though they were using a couple of stand-ins. So I just like storylines, and I'm sure most other folks do. And speaking of folks, those that are watching, let us know what you think of some of the new assets and the production that we've been doing here. Just really getting off the ground tonight. A lot of great work done by some of the D2L staff in the background. Love the player introduction videos. Absolutely love our new intro. It's like, I doubt you've had a chance, but when you get a chance, man, make sure you go and watch the VODs. I don't think you've seen all of it, but
I've seen part of it. Yeah, you could be right. I don't know if I've seen all of it.
It's so good, man. Tusk giving the old uppercut to.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
How sick is that? Oh, okay. You got to see it. It's pretty damn good. Well, I feel normally I would just plug sponsors, but I don't want to do that on day one, man. Don't want to do that. I want to talk to each and every one of you. Let's see what Twitch chat's up to.
Twitch chat.
Yeah.
It's some kind of copy pasta that I have no idea what it is. What does this even mean? He actually still as T. What is the backstab there?
Oh, look, there's a bag of Doritos.
Like I actually have no idea what this means.
He actually still as TCM something
with the backstab there, battling them, act pass so one, be metagame, donkey punch. She actually still as. Oh boy.
Oh yep, that's the new copy pasta.
It's good stuff. Excellent. Good stuff.
See, Dindy Face has become Howard Wolowitz. Excellent. But, well, we'll treat it like a rain delay in baseball, man, until we're back underway. Please type any questions you have to Tralf and I, and we'll be happy to answer them.
I can go further into What's the patch called? Rekindling Spirit or something? Yeah, Rekindling Soul.
Something like that.
Yeah, okay, I wanted to talk now that I actually have a chance about this.
Yeah,
this,
please
this offlane business. So I gotta find where they actually wrote this. Give me a second. Okay. It says, bottom lane Dire creeps now arrive slightly closer to the Dire tier 1 tower. Okay, so that's the Dire offlane. The top lane Radiant creeps, so the Radiant offlane now arrives slightly further. So those go a little, so the top one goes faster, the Radiant one goes faster, the Dire goes slower. But what they don't also write in there is that the safe lane creeps from each respective side go at different speeds. So the dire side goes slower, and the Radiant ones also go faster. I don't see that written in there. I don't know if that's intended or not, but it's the combination of both that actually makes it even more so than what they intended. Now, I could be wrong, and maybe they wrote more into that, but that's all I read. Either way, the point still stands that the Dire offlane's pretty damn good now. That's my little rant for the night.
Just in time, as it seems like Super is informing us they will be changing his PC, so we might have another moment or two. But yeah, I honestly wasn't aware of it either, which is not something.
This is why I think Earthshaker is very good in this patch. I don't know if people have ever actually voiced this, but a lot can be said about blocking the off lane for your Radiant or even whoever you want. You can even block the Radiant safe lane just to make sure that the Dire offlane block isn't as substantial as you might think it would become. And it does make a significant difference. And I've seen in a lot of games actually Earthshaker banned out, and I wonder if that's why they do it, or just because they think Earthshaker's good.
Yeah, Earthshaker's a pretty solid hero.
It is. There we go!
We are back! All right, guys. Thanks for the patience, and hopefully PC number 2 will be a little bit more stable than PC number 1 was for our Rubik. But, sorry, Twitch chat, I opened it up to you, man. Said ask us questions, and no questions. You could have picked Trouf's brain. You could have flamed me in the form of a question and had me read it aloud, but you didn't. You didn't. I hope you're proud.
There you go. We got to watch top, though. Top, June. Yep. Are you in trouble, June?
June's dead. Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead. So, nice kill for the Spectre. Bottom, though, kind of a disaster in its own right. So, 4-4, as we are just still at 7 minutes into this game. So, with Tidehunter now being a part of that kill, the Spectre, like you said, last hits aren't great. Certainly could be worse, though, and now a part of that kill. Do you just go straight into kind of turtle mode for LAI and just say, okay, let's just keep our towers up, let's try to outmaneuver them? Or do you try to pressure a couple of key heroes, namely the Weaver?
I don't think Weaver's going to do anything this game. I really don't. I don't think Weaver's going to get much farm, even in this 1v1 matchup, if they decide to keep it like this. I think maybe just honestly keep farming, get Spectre, maybe even rotate Spectre bottom at this point. Mm-hmm. You know that they've abandoned the bottom lane, and they're probably not going to be coming back, so maybe throw Viper mid. He's a little bit more tanky, has 2 levels in corrosive skin, throw the Spectre bottom. Speaking of Spectre, he's getting gone on by Ferrari. If he can get another crit with this dagger... Oh, no, he couldn't. There's the regen rune coming out for Spectre. So nice RNGs there for XDD.
And down the bottom of the other room, a bounty and Luo keeping an eye on it. But yeah, no, that's kind of, what I was curious about is, Spectre's just so good late that you kind of have the option of just playing defensive. You do have some heroes that you want to farm up even aside from her, though, namely the Visage. Visage, of course, would love to get up a Scepter, so if you can give him a little bit of farm priority, not necessarily over the Spectre, but just do it like EG did so well last patch, early last patch, when they would run the Visage and just put Zai on it and say, go farm for a bit, and when you get a Scepter, let's go wreck face.
Yep, it looks like there's a possible smoke gank up here. Or actually, I should say in here in the middle lane. They're being patient. Patience from Chuan.
There's one at top as well.
Yeah.
Let's see which one's going to go off first. Both teams playing cautiously. Going to jump to whichever one seems to be the most active. Looks like it's going to end up being top as they're backing off of mid. And yep, there's the Haunt. And the Stampede's going to be used, but the Telekinesis there. There's going to be immediate TPs, but not soon enough to save June as he dies to one auto attack from the Rubik. Now, though, Ferrari looking for a return kill. If he can get Spectre, it'll certainly be worth it. Spectre makes it away, and Ferrari now in trouble. The Ravage will be available shortly if he needs it, but no more support coming in. Check that. Here comes the Ogre and Chuan on the Ancient Apparition. Let's see. Yeah, does he have enough mana? No. He's actually got a few. No, he just used his wand charges. I was going to say he had a few. I didn't know if he was going to have enough. I didn't see the number of them. But they end up getting a twofer, bringing down arguably the most important cores right now for IG and jumping back into the lead 6-5.
Yep, here comes a TP back up from Centaur. The Tide ulti hasn't even been used. He didn't have mana in the midst of all that as he was using anchor smashes and whatnot. But yeah, if Spectre had died there, if there was a coup de grace crit there from Ferrari 430, I think it could have been very, very easy and very much in favor of IG. Couldn't get the RNG, and as a result, he dies. Visage is so powerful in these engagements too. I don't know if you see this, but the amount of damage coming up from Soul Assumption constantly is not to be underestimated.
Rest of the map, kind of quiet, at least for the moment. Ferrari going back to farming. CS-wise, Tidehunter's right there, man. He is, I mean, XTT has just had a great game. He's going to have a Blink Dagger up so ridiculously quickly. And I'm still watching this Weaver. I mean, Weaver's one of those heroes that can just sneak up on you. And suddenly, after a couple of one-team fights, he's got a lot more items than you would expect. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like the Centaur really needs to get a bit more active, but they need that Blink on him before they can do much of anything reliably. Yeah,
they definitely need the Blink on him. I'm wondering if the Tidehunter goes just for the mech first. He's already got this Ring of Regen casually. And I feel like I've been seeing more Chinese teams or more Eastern teams in general just picking up a mech before Blink on Tide.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if they feel they don't have enough burst early on to synergize well with the ultimate. As here comes Luo coming in here aggressively. He's gone for more sustainable items here with the bottle actually on a Weaver and the Ring of Aquila, which I think is a nice decision. Also, another thing about the Weaver is that it's a fantastic hero for the Rubik in the game because
Super
action.
Engaged in mid and brought down with zero concern, as that's a nice kill for them. Picking off the Visage, they were giving him a chance to catch up in levels, get a little bit of farm, but no one there to cover him. And Spectre now running Lua out of lane at bottom.
Yep, so that's a nice kill for them. That was right before he hits level 6 too, so that's very good. As far as looking at the whole big picture, it's actually relatively even, a slight favor of IG. And I think the biggest thing of that is that Spectre, even though he's 2-0-2, nice score, hasn't died, he actually has very little CS. Very low CS. I thought he would have more items than this, but only phase boots, a PMS, and a bottle.
June in trouble. Lifted after the gush, and he's going to get the stomp off. There's a good spread there from LAI Gaming. They didn't get the Tide out of the way, but I don't think he cares. The rest of his teammates were right there to clean it up, and they're holding that Centaur down so well. He's still only about 700, 800 gold away from his Blink Dagger, but speaking of Blink, XTT has his now. And with Visage finally level 6, putting the Familiars to work, I think this is a real window of opportunity for LAI Gaming to put some pressure on IG and not allow them to farm while they make space for the Spectre.
I think so too. I'm becoming more and more of a fan of Visage as a support, as I've been seeing it picked up a lot. This hero just does it all, man. It doesn't have a hard stun for himself. It's got many stuns with the Familiars, but does so much damage in these engagements. And when the Centaur doesn't have ulti, he actually cannot do anything with the Grave Chill, level 1 Grave Chill on him. So
right,
yeah, he really. But as you said, he desperately needs this Blink, and that Blink is going to feel like it's going to take an eternity for him to get.
Yep, because he's not going to, if you see the Familiars like this, we see Supers pushing the lane, but he's got to feel a little bit wary. In fact, yeah, here comes Ferrari that's rotating over. We'll see if they want to try to go for a kill on Super. And he's going to be spotted almost certainly. Yep,
he TP's out right now. He might, yeah. If there's no crits, can he get a couple crits? Yeah. No, he only got one. Needed more.
Chuan and the Ogre making their way towards mid. That's the Viper. Still farming up. But yeah, I feel like LAI's in good shape, and IG has to feel not necessarily worried, but they want to take an objective soon. All of the tier 1s are still standing on the side of LAI Gaming, and they do feel like they're building a bit of momentum. The Spectre, in the meantime, has caught up in last hits a little bit, still trailing behind the rest of the pack, but is at least in the ballpark. But a lot being committed down to bottom to try to slow her down as 3 heroes are there. We'll see how they want to react on the side of LAI Gaming.
A nice presence of mind from the Spectre. Knows that something is up and can't walk up, but is not at least feeding kills. So very nicely played by him. In the meantime, action and pressure being had in mid. It looks like it is going to be a Battle Fury from Ferrari 430 playing the PA. So farming quite nicely. Oh, action actually. I hear a Centaur ulti onto bottom.
Yep. And TP out from the Spectre as she makes it back to safety. In the meantime, that's a win across the board for LAI Gaming.
Yeah.
They committed down to that. They used the Stampede. And now, but not only do they not get the kill, they're going to lose the Tier 1 as well. So very nice exchange that time by LAI. And they're just kind of nickeling and diming themselves into a decent little lead.
If PA comes up too far, they're going to use a Solar Ravage plus Haunt. So yeah, for R430, he's really keeping his distance. He knows that they're not afraid to expend a Solar Ravage on one hero. And yeah, as you mentioned, with the getaway of Spectre, it's awesome if you can get away in situations like that, because if you heal up, you can instantly get into the fight. That's my favorite thing about Spectre. It's not so much in the late game with the Radiance, it's that anytime you have the ultimate, you can increase your farm exponentially because you don't have to be anywhere on the map. Or you can be anywhere on the map to fight instantly.
Big smoke, 4 of them. Luo, the one out front. This is actually about as good a situation as IG could ask for. As if he pops the smoke, he'll have the best chance to get away. Stampede on cooldown, 22 seconds. They've got 3 there right now. 4 if you count behind the Tier 2. Or Tier 1, excuse me. And yeah, they're just going to go ahead and pull back. So wasted smoke that time for LAI. Unless they manage to find something just towards the end of it, it's going to expire right now.
Yep, but Spectre's getting some nice farm time up top. So good for her. I thought she had something built up there. It was a bracer, so she's pretty close to drums if she wants it. But overall, the CS is still in favor of IG, but they want to use this Ravage somewhere. He's been walking around. He does it wasn't the mech, it is the fast blink. So yeah, it'd be nice to see if a Rubik can steal a spell too, because he's action again.
On to Super. Stomp with that blink, and down he goes. Looks like the Visage has actually picked up the Buckler himself. So I'm going to imagine that'll be the mech out on him. Yeah, and it was a blade mail on the Viper. So that Visage remains pretty far away from finishing off the mech. 16 minutes in after that kill, and it looks like IG's really beginning to get a little chesty, as they should, and freeing up space for Luo to split push. Do you think that IG's done enough, or should they continue to really just barrel down the throat of this Spectre?
I think they're doing okay. The Weaver's recovered very nicely as far as farm goes, and PA is actually... I'm surprised to see that PA is actually top of the boards, despite dying up there top in a very unfortunate circumstance where she didn't get any crits. So Luo, he's going for more of a beefcake type of build is what I'll call it, where it's not like a fast Lincoln's, which I think majority of the time is just so bad and overrated. But going for more like this, just a casual Vite booster, probably into maybe, who knows, maybe a BKB and then damage after that, Deso, something like that. But I like it. I also like the bottle too.
Another big smoke moving down bottom lane. This time it will have XDD in it, which, as you mentioned, is a little bit of an oddity. Usually you want to smoke with the others while XDD farms. Then he can haunt in. But yeah, they don't find anyone, as he's just going to go ahead and hook up with the Viper in lane. And they're going to double back towards mid now, but pretty much everyone up in the safety of the Dire jungle.
It seems like these supports on the Radiant team are just getting spread apart by IG. Like they're constantly moving around everywhere, but they're not finding anything. Like especially this Tide. I know he's not a support, but actually Tide is going for mech too. I don't know. There's some miscommunication because he has a buckler as well as the Visage. So
yeah, could be looking to get up that Crimson Guard, son.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Luo gonna be solo ravaged, and they do manage to bring him down with no muss or fuss. So
they got something finally.
Yeah, but the thing is, they've wasted so much time, and again, it was a little odd seeing the Spectre be a part of that last smoke. There's just no reason for it. IG, the majority of them remain away, but they are running with a Tricore lineup, and the PA in really nice shape. Should have that Battle Fury done just in moments, actually, in seconds.
Yep, just needs about 70 gold, so that'll be good for her. The only thing is if LAI Gaming can somehow keep a ward up here and just take control of the jungle, PA's farming capabilities, unless she goes offensive, actually she could farm offensively into LAI's jungle because they have some nice wards. As long as she's able to have access to a jungle, that's where you want your Battle Fury farmer to be, because you obviously can create space for your other teammates to farm other parts of the map. So, and look
really
at this,
fortuitous rune. Yep, picked up a DD just before they went in. The Battle Fury complete. So them big crits times 2. As Roche is going to drop very quickly.
Haven't seen her crit yet.
She critted a few times.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, right when she jumped in. And let's see, she'll probably get another 1 or 2 here.
I actually haven't seen one since I looked, which was at like 3/4 HP. Oh, there we go, 899. Good.
They're going to take the Roshan. Aegis, of course, goes on a Ferrari. This tier 2, they have a glyph, and it's at half health. Yeah, they're going to glyph, and they have plenty of chance. Ooh, this could be good. Who's it going to catch? Caught everyone. And they're going to have to clear out. Cannot take the chance of hanging around. Ferrari's DD does expire, but that's as good as you can ask. Usually you try to take a Roshan like that when you see the enemy pushing up your top lane. You're just going to give up a tier 2 in order to get the Roshan. But nope, able to keep it alive at half health.
Yeah, and they also didn't have to fear any kind of aggression coming out from them because, yeah, they do have the Haunt, but at this stage of the game, Haunt doesn't do too much damage. In fact, it does very little. It's the Haunt plus the Spectral Dagger that really does it, and because they didn't have the Tide ulti. So, yeah, and then the DD rune, of course, does not hurt things at all from them. And finally, the Sakuchi comes up for 5,400, so he has a level 4 Sakuchi to work with.
Well, if there's one hero on the map that I feel like I have not felt his impact even a little, it's this Ogre Magi. Like, have you felt that he's done anything really justifying the pick at all thus far? He doesn't have a single point in the Bloodlust, which is fine. I mean, if you just want to go team fight and gank, it's understandable. But they, as we mentioned, have not been having the most success there.
Well, I feel like he'll definitely get it at level 8 because the 1 point in Ignite, although it is quite a good value point, kind of want to level it up. But yeah, it is a little bit curious. Bloodlust in itself at 1 point is pretty nice. But I mean, hey, he's 2-0-3, hasn't died yet. I would say he's just doing just fine. He's got 1,600 gold. I don't think he's doing anything too wrong. There's not really too much he can do, honestly, because without multicast, his damage output is meh. And he has actually a relatively low mana pool until he gets some items up. I'm wondering what he's saving this gold for, though. That's my question. Aghanims would seem like the obvious choice, but he should buy a point booster if that was the case. He bought Tranquils right now.
Yep.
And he's saving up for something else.
Speaking of saving, how's our Spectre doing? 2,600 gold. Think this is a late Radiance game, or do you back off of that? And yep.
Yeah, definitely. So? Yeah, I mean, there'd be kind of no reason to save this if he wasn't going for it at this point.
Got it. Ferrari happy to take the time to farm as well, and with that Battle Fury up, his farm beginning to explode. Finished the Battle Fury not long ago, just as he was completing Roshan, and now with another 2,200 gold tucked away. Talking about the build here, is this a game where you want to get that BKB ASAP, or do you potentially look to do something else? Look to perhaps go for a Basher or something of that ilk?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's hard to say, honestly, in this patch because you want to be careful with your BKB purchases. If he gets a crit, oh no, there's a Sakuchi. If he, yeah, you want to be careful with your BKB purchases in this patch because obviously you can't replenish it. You can't buy a new one later on, so you're stuck with the charges that you have available. So initially, I would say yes, get the BKB, go fight. The only thing that can stop you is a Viper ulti. But now I'm wondering, like, it's a safe route to get BKB, but if he doesn't go for it, I understand why he wouldn't.
We'll see. Looks like he's going to continue to bank the gold for a little while. Down at bottom, speaking of banking gold, LAI Gaming sure would like a little bit of gold from the tower, and they're going to get it. Viper taking the last hit there. Rest of IG, though, they've got Luo just farming top lane, pushing towards that tier 1. Rest of them hovering around. We do see finally there was a point put in the Bloodlust, and Ferrari going to be quite happy to have that buff pretty much perma-casted on him. They're pushing through to the tier 2 at bottom with the Visage Familiars and the Viper up front. That's going to connect. Kaboom. As the Viper, not going to back off, actually. He's got a Blade Mail and looking to play pretty aggressive. Needs a dagger right in the mouth. The Familiars zoning Ferrari out, and Ferrari goes, no. I'll swat the birds. It's fine. And yeah,
kills both of them.
2 birds for free, basically.
Huh, that's a good chunk of change right there.
Yeah, it's 200 gold.
I still think it's curious that he has a buckler and so does the Tide. So Tide has the Met completed. There's no other reason to buy the buckler except for Crimson Guard, right? Am I missing something?
No.
That's it. So there was definitely some miscommunication right there. I can't imagine Visage is going for first item Crimson Guard. Like,
Do it. I want to see it. Just to make Tralf angry.
There you go. It's actually not even good here against
Hang
IG.
on, there's a Stampede. And I didn't even, now they're coming in. Looks like, they're going to get a free kill on the Rubik for sure. And there's the lift, but not going to matter. TPs are coming in. Tower's going to drop. That was a weird time lapse, but used it nonetheless. Behind that, there's the Haunt. XDD has eyes onto the Ogre. Ogre turns, does what he can, gets a 2x multicast, gets a stun off, doesn't matter. Is the rest of LAI Gaming there to hem them up and clean them up. BKB in the meantime does complete on Ferrari. So going with the defensive approach, which I actually really like that against LAI's LAI's composition. I think, like, this is the point where, you know, what level is she? Yeah, like, she's getting close to level 16, so the BKB and level 3 coup de grace going to come out roughly in conjunction with each other. You have Bloodlust, which, what, 2 points? Just one, but probably the next time he levels up, he'll get a point into that over Ignite. And you've just got so much it's going to allow her to peak between 25 and 30 minutes.
Yeah, I can't fault her at all for getting the BKB this early right after Battle Fury. The only thing I was thinking is that because you have to stick with the charge that you get. I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't get it early on. But this is very nice. The only thing that can really stop her in fights after she BKBs is the Viper ulti. So if Viper ulti is already cast, she has complete free reign in these fights. And as you mentioned with the Bloodlust on her on top of that, it's going to give her a lot of time to find those crits. She gets another bird, actually. She crits another one of the Visage birds. I believe they're on cooldown, so he's stuck with one for quite some time.
Yep, it will be able to fly away, but that's free gold. It's just been fed quite a bit, and now we're seeing the power of that Bloodlust. Still just level
That's a
1.
Radiance on the Weaver. What?
Wow. Yeah, that was not anticipated.
Wow. All right. Well, Weaver, I'm completely wrong, by the way, because I thought Weaver was going to be a non-factor in this game, but wow, Luo has impressed and has found a lot of farm this game.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense, the Radiance pick up, because you look and you go, okay, the Spectre maybe someday gets a BKB, but for right now, she's going to be broke because she's rushing a Radiance of her own. Then you look at your team and you go, we got some squishies, but this Weaver's going to be able to stay alive. Like, outside of the Ravage, the Weaver's not going to care that much about a Telekinesis or any other lockdown that LAI Gaming's going to have just because he has Shikuchi. So if they can drag these fights out. You have Ferrari with his BKB, and obviously just the way that PA tends to work is she likes drawn-out fights, more crits, more activity, more chances to bounce from target to target. I think it's a great pickup, and like you said, man, like, looked like he might have had a struggle based on the way the laning phase went early, but now IG, ready to make something happen.
There's a Radiance up for Spectre, but the thing about IG's lineup, I'm going to hold that thought, is we're going to see some action here for sure.
Let's see who they catch. Could be Super. Yep, there it is. June jumps right in. Stomp, and oh, there's going to be a Ravage to slow things down. A lot of damage done. Here comes the Ice Blast. But Ferrari gets the BKB off, and he's going to work. In the meantime, XTT looking for something, but Ferrari is actually down quite low behind that. We can see Luo going to work and continuing to chase this Rubik. He's going to be able to just burn him down. One last auto attack secures the kill. The Visage Familiars are right on top of him, able to time-lapse away, though. In the meantime, we can see, yep, the Radiance Burn is doing its job, and they should be able to chase down the Ogre as well. That's a 3 for 4 as of right now. But with that, does he have the damage? He does. So a 4 for 4, 8 down in a matter of 30 to 40 seconds. And yeah, that's, I can imagine this game's going to be pretty much volatile the rest of the time. Luo, yeah, the Viper sees that, goes, no. Don't want a part of it.
I don't think that's going to happen again for the sake of IG. I don't believe that Ferrari got his BKB off before the Ravage. It was a very nice Ravage. I think they were a little careless going in there with Centaur without complete full vision and not following up appropriately, and Centaur not getting off all of his spells onto the Visage. When you dive like that aggressively, you need to burst someone down immediately, or at least have a plan and ready to go. But it seemed like just go on someone and we'll make the best of it, and it just didn't work out. So it ended up being an even trade, but I think still actually very, very even. But I don't think that'll happen again if IG plays their cards just a little bit better.
Let's take a look at our gold graph coming up on 30 minutes now. Very close game, less than 2,500 gold separating these two teams. What advantage does exist is in favor of Invictus Gaming. Same on the side of the Experience 2. Let's start to talk a little bit about the late game, ultra late game potential we have, because the way this game's going, barring some major mistakes or just one big blowout, I can imagine this game going quite some time. Break down before the fight starts if you can. The Spectre versus PA late game matchup with the supporting cast they have. Never mind. We're going to have Spectre jumped upon. There's going to be the Stampede, and down he goes. Talking about burst, well, they did what you said, my friend. Made sure they had the burst that time.
I think PA wins, though, because with the BKB, none of that dispersion damage is going to affect PA. Mm-hmm. And you can slow the Spectre so many times that she can't even get away with the Spectral Dagger. And yeah, I think that's the main thing, is with BKB up, Spectre actually doesn't do much to the Phantom Assassin. So it has to come, the sustainability in teamfights has to come from the supporting cast, which is the Viper, who is very farmed. And then if this Visage can get some farm, but this Visage, I can't say Visage tonight apparently, but this Visage is extremely underfarmed, has like nothing. Yep. 35 CS, 500 gold, and a buckler. It's
Has a
very
second
poor
buckler.
farm for. I mean, yeah, she's a support, but normally you want to see Visages get lots of. Is that the right plural? Visages? I don't know. Whatever. But normally you want to see Visage get a lot more farm at this stage of the game. It just hasn't had it.
Visagi?
I don't know. Whatever.
Visages sounds appropriate, but
I think I said
Another
Visage like 40 times in the last 2 minutes.
it's one of those weird things where you say a word too much and it starts to lose its meaning.
Or it
You
just
start to
sounds
feel
weird to you. Visage.
You start to feel like a talking bag of meat flapping its lips to make sounds.
Yep.
That's exactly what we all are. Anyway, here we go. They're going to catch someone. Shikuchi right on top of them, and they're going to grab. There's going to be a two-man Ravage. Got the supports and blew them up immediately. Ferrari, though, looks like he wants to fight. BKB's going to be up. He's going to work. Super's the one that he's targeted thus far. In the meantime, the Viper helping to kite him out. Hit him with the Viper strike. Now he's going to jump back up to the high ground. Going to work on the Viper. June's there as well. Hits the stomp onto XTT, and there's going to be that Crimson Guard. But 3 down on one side as PA re-engaging into that and making a mistake that's going to turn into 4-4-0. And Luo, even he has to be careful. Got 4K in the bank. Roshan will be the 5th to drop. Never mind. Looks like they're rethinking it, as they will go ahead and back off. But yeah, great fight, and I'm a little perplexed by Ferrari's decision to re-engage there. He lost 2 immediately. It was going to be a lopsided fight, and I understand you think you're big, and he is big. Had his basher just completed, actually. But still just was not able to deal the damage fast enough.
Well, the issue was he thought he could go in because they're like, oh, they used Ravage, go in. They used Taunt, go in. But this is exactly what I talked about. PA is very good with BKB against all of them, except for the Viper Strike. It actually owns her in fights. And that's what happens. She, even through the BKB, gets slowed tremendously. And then she gets kited out. Yeah, she can destroy Spectre one-on-one, or pretty much anyone 1v1, but if she gets kited throughout the BKB and doesn't have it up anymore, she gets destroyed. And with these charges starting to slowly dwindle down, it's now down to 8 seconds. Come late game, she can't replace this at 5 seconds. It could be a big problem for IG.
Taking a look at the net worth, IG does still have the top 2. That's Weaver and Ferrari on that PA. They are going to go ahead and decide to take a run at Roshan. They see XTT's not there. He is working on a refresher. He's actually damn close. Perseverance and Oblivion Staff already completed. But they're not going to be in any position to challenge this. And they're really not in a position to take a run at this tier 2. So they may just get their second free Roshan in the game, as Ferrari looking for a second Aegis.
Yep, and that'll be very good for him. Once he gets this Abyssal, I think things could change. I don't know, though. This Viper is such an annoyance for PA, like I mentioned. And I have to commend XTT, too, on the Tide. He's been very explosive and very impulsive on these ultimates, and I think that's how you have to play Tide. He's just go in there, don't fear anything, go instinctively, and it's been effective every single time.
I'm a little surprised he didn't collapse quicker that tier 2. Now we're going to have the Rubik spotted out. There's going to be the Stampede used. TP gets one out of the way as June misses on the stomp. In the meantime, the Rubik left behind. He'll be melted down quickly. I feel like they could have TP'd. They had TPs on most of their heroes, and it would have been enough to keep that tower standing a little bit longer, but I guess in not wanting to do so, they do get one return pick, and that's going to be the Rubik. So you're IG, you've got an Aegis, but you've lost a fight or 2. What's the plan moving ahead from here, my friend?
I think it's farm up the Abyssal on PA, or just look for smarter engagements. Like fight when they don't have 5 and Ravage is going to hit, you know, more than 2 people. Like just be a little bit smart about your engagements. And I mean, they got caught off right there with a nice smoke from IG. But I still feel like, I mean, the net worth is just showing how far ahead these 2 cores are in comparison to LAI Gaming. They've had nice engagements with the Ravage Haunt, but if they catch them and fight them, like if there's a bad Ravage, I think they just lose the fight. I think that's what it comes down to. Avoid this Ravage, and I think IG's fine.
Well, just look at the, like you said, the net worth chart tells us the top 2 are the 2 that you want on top of your IG, but look at the overall chart. It's actually dead even on both counts.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think it's because this Tide has a little bit more than this Centaur, but yeah, it's very even.
Speaking of Tide, very close.
Oh my god, he got crit for 1200, and that's what I'm talking about. Isolated 1v1s, this PA just destroys the Spectre.
Oh, Ferrari finding himself a solo kill. I was actually watching elsewhere, but 17 to 15, Spectre down off the map. Do you think the Spectre's farm is where it belongs? It seems like every time...
he's very underfarmed. I feel like he should have more farm than this, actually.
It seems like every time I check his inventory, I feel like he's on the verge of getting fat, but then I look at Ferrari and go, no, just not there yet.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've been following closely with the supports and if they've been stacking Ancients or something like that, but regardless, even if they have, I still feel like Spectre just hasn't been farming efficiently on the map somewhere. Like, maybe she's running around trying to gank when she shouldn't be. I doubt she's missing last hits because she has a Radiance. So, I don't know, just maybe not making the right rotations, but the bottom line is I feel like she should have more farm than she does.
Let's talk about the needed impact of the Viper. He's actually got more farm than the Spectre does. Just finished a Manta style. Already has up the Blade Mail and the Scepter to go with it. As you mentioned, Viper Strike, especially with Scepter, is just what they have to have on Ferrari every time they want to engage him.
Yeah.
Outside of that, though, I mean, is Viper enough with the farm he has to help carry the water until Spectre really picks up?
I think just the fact that Viper can control the PA is warrants Viper's usefulness enough to be a pick. There is a refresher, by the way, up on the tie that's going to be huge. So I think Viper's doing fine for his team. I think he's really holding them together, to be honest. Nice build. I thought the Blade Mail was kind of interesting. That was the first, but it is good against PA when BKB's down. I think the X factor here for IG is this Weaver. I mean, we talked a lot about PA, but Weaver's like silently been out farming everybody. Kind of is pretty much there neck and neck with the PA, a little bit under, but still has a Radiance. Could this be a Heart? I don't even know. I thought the Radiance was crazy, so who knows what the next item for Luo could be.
Even aside from farm rates, when you just look at the game impact of these heroes, Weaver, despite being in a lane that did fail, like they actually abandoned it, he's 5-2-4. And, you know, he's up there with the most impactful heroes on the map as of right now. So it really has been a very, very nice game for Luo.
It's going to be a Heart.
Picked up? Yep, Heart.
Yep, and I think that's fine, just sustaining yourself in fights. Like I said, if they survive this Ravage Haunt combo, and they're able to jump in after all of that with everyone up, well, not even everyone, just like minimal casualties, I think they'll be fine.
For now, both teams playing it safe. Ferrari still has his Aegis, but not for long. It will be expiring relatively soon. Looks like we've got the makings of a 5-man push at top for LAI Gaming. But Weaver getting large. He's got 2,500 health. He is so strong and has a BKB and a gem.
I agree with you, man. I feel like the Spectre's his farm is very low. I look at that and I'm like, okay, nice to get a Radiance and a Yasha, but he still has 1,300 HP, and his armor isn't even that high. It's only 11. Here we go. Big engagement.
Yep. Popping the smoke, and there's going to be the immediate Ravage. Managed to get Ferrari on the edge of it. Can they blow him up? Ravage off. No! He was interrupted. They still got the kill. He was interrupted. Now Ferrari's going to re-engage. He doesn't have the mana. He needs mana from somebody if he wants to use this other Ravage. They're kiting Ferrari out right now.
He lost his Aegis as well.
Oh, they actually have done. They did a real good job of managing this fight. Can they catch back up? There's a Viper Strike onto the Ogre. Coming back in, that's going to be June, who cancels on the Stomp. And now he's in trouble. He's going to be trying to TP up, but lifted back by the Rubik and IG. I feel like, I mean, they lost the Weaver so quickly, and that stinks. But that was just so well managed by LAI Gaming, and they didn't have things go their way either. The Tide refreshed, but didn't have the mana to use his second Ravage, so it's still at call. He does have the mana now. There's going to be an Ice Blast that comes out. That's going to end up catching 3. 3-0 in that exchange. Ferrari holding back. Visage Familiars along with that Viper. And like you said, man, holding the team together, that's a great way to describe the role this Viper has played. And I think we saw it there because somebody had to man up and eat that damage, and it was him. And he managed to not only do it, but to survive and allow the rest of his team to just wait that BKB out and force the full-on retreat from IG. They're not going to get a tier 3 as they themselves have to retreat now, but really a nice engagement from LAI Gaming, and they're gaining a bit of momentum.
Maybe Heart wasn't the answer because that didn't do anything. Like, he still got ripped to shreds. And actually, I was watching him, and he literally got his BKB off at the last possible second, but he still couldn't time-lapse. So he actually wasted his BKB charge right there, his 10-second BKB to Weaver. So he's had it for this long, but he's still... his 10-second BKB charge was literally lasted for maybe 0.025 seconds. Very, very unfortunate and nicely played. This is why Spectre, in my opinion, like, he can't hold his own 1v1 to most, like, hard-hitting, right, agility carries. But that's why Spectre is so powerful. It's just being able to disrupt the fights and make it chaotic and to appear out of nowhere at any given time. And just a fantastic play by Tide. Like, Tide, for me, is the MVP so far of this LAI Gaming squad.
Well, you know, something else the Spectre gives you is in a situation like that, you know, you use the Haunt, and you can't just do stuff like, okay, wait out the Ravage, bait it out. You can't do that whenever you've got a bunch of Haunt images that are banging away and burning you down with a Radiance Burn, and you're a poor little Ancient Apparition with three-digit health. Like, that's just not an option for you, and that's with an Ogre Club. And it just makes it so hard for them to sustain these drawn-out fights. And I again, really, really impressed with the way LAI was able to just kite out Ferrari and not allow him to have any real impact. He will have one now, as he's picked up an Abyssal Blade. That finished a minute or two ago. But they're going to need him to come through for them. And more than anything, they just need to not lose their Weaver to a flat-out catch-out.
Yeah, I don't even know if they can fight here. Like, everything is up for LAI Gaming. Like, they don't have a refresher up onto the Tide. Actually, no, they do. It's 3 seconds, it'll have it, so...
Yep.
These team fights are being dictated by LAI Gaming, and I think IG needs to be the ones to kind of jump in now, because, yeah, their cores are ridiculously farmed, and it's still actually dead even, believe it or not, just because of how much farm Ferrari 430 has accumulated. But it's still scary looking at these fights, how, like, the funny thing is it looks so easy from LAI Gaming. You're like, wow, that was easy. Like, it looks like they're not even trying too hard in these team fights with the great initiation from Tide.
I think both teams are content to just farm a bit more and then look to do a Roshan. And yeah, they're going to check in, and they're just going to wait it out. It's going to say just sit and, you know, hold church, do whatever. No, they're going to go ahead and back out. So 41 minutes in, and LAI Gaming, off of that last engagement, really gaining a lot of momentum. Roche will be back up in about 90 seconds now.
4 staff up onto the Visage, so that's what he chose to go after this casual buckler. Blink up onto Rubik, so their supports are getting some items finally, which is good for them. Next item for the Viper is, we don't know yet. He's got the Manta, as you mentioned. I still think BKB would be good for him. Actually, Heart would probably be or Heart or AC, probably Heart. He can get, because if he has the BKB, he can't get 4 staff defensively from the Visage, so Heart would be pretty good for him.
Rubik able to single-handedly stop the split push of the Weaver. Got Shikuchi once again. He's pretty much had that all game long, which is no big surprise.
Great spell for him to have.
Oh yeah, one of the best you can get if you're Rubik. I mean, you know, you can talk damage or whatever else. Just the ability to wait out these fights and to actually have a chance to survive even in the absence of a movement item, a mobility item. But he already has a blink too. So
yeah.
I feel like he's done well all game, it feels like.
One of the best spells you can get for how easy it is to steal, I'll say that.
Right. Oh, Roshan, not up yet, but will be in just a minute. And for now, IG has the advantage. And they've got the Spectre split out, but of course she can haunt in. And I want to see how this is going to go and see if Ty can get off the full 2 Ravages this time. I mean, it's so mana intensive, it's tough.
And although Spectre's farm was slow, she's starting to get up to that point where it's very, very scary. Where she lives so long in fights that her dispersion really pays for itself. The damage is pure as well, so
yep.
Very, very scary stuff. She's almost got her heart about, what does she need, about 1,300, 1,400 gold or something like that. Very, very close.
Well, she's just one of those heroes where, you know, 20,000 gold on some heroes is not worth nearly as much. On most heroes, I would say, is not worth nearly as much as 20,000 gold on a Spectre.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
You know, she's at 16k, and it's possible that just because of the nature of the way the hero works, and the Viper really dictates this a lot as well, just in terms of having an answer to the PA, but, you know, at 16.5k, she feels as lethal, if not more, than even Ferrari does. But again, that does have something to do with the Viper strike. But Ferrari, speaking of, going to be engaged. There's going to be the telekinesis. Oh, what a ravage! Got 3. There's the other one. Got them both off that time. And going to make it a big wipe. 3 are down. Can they catch Luo? Luo caught from behind, has time-lapse. He's going to try to run away, but if he time-lapses now, he's going right back into the fight. Coming into the back, he BKBs. They lose a courier on the side of the Radiant. Can they catch Luo? They're trying like hell. Rubik right there with him. Can't lift him yet. He's going to end up giving his body, and it will not be enough as Luo...
They got him.
No, they got him. So Rubik, who's been doing his best Weaver impression all game, gives his body, secures the kill. 24-16, Tier 2 gonna be down, and LAI Gaming might look to push high ground and take at least the Tier 3.
Someone check the account of Tide here. I think Universe is playing on Smurf because this guy is playing out of his mind. This
joke.
This Tide player is really just, like I said, he's just so impulsive. He's going in there and just not giving two shits and just going in there and casting him at the right times very quickly, not giving anyone a chance. And if you cast him very, very close, like the center of your proximity of your ulti on top of a hero, it's very, very difficult to have those super spidey reflexes to get your BKB off, as Luo is actually trying to find someone here. Centaur ulti popped.
Burning down Super, chasing him up towards the Radiant side secret shop. Looks like Super might biff it here. Shikuchi once again stolen. Oh, actually,
oh, wow,
Rubik
nice.
Gets stomped. Yeah, that's a nice. Is that a no way? I was gonna say there's no way he actually gets away here, but
oh, that's a gem down too.
I would have liked it if he'd have tried to pass it to the Rubik, but
yeah.
At any rate. Like, he was close enough. I think he could have done it. I guess Rubik's inventory is full, though. He would have had to drop something else. Nonetheless, good effort from 5400, but not enough. So they did force a couple of buybacks out there. So this is where things get particularly scary. Now that 18,000 net worth on Spectre feels a lot more deadly because you've had to spend so much just to keep yourself in the game. Roche is up and is spotted now. And they're going to take this quickly. And without Ravage ready to go, yeah, they're just going to have to give this up. They can't stop it.
I don't know. They bought back up on the Visage. They have a Ravage up in 16 seconds and Haunt. If they Haunt right now, they have to like Haunt right now. Oh, it's very late. What?
Oh wow, he goes. Lil. Okay, here we go. Oh, is this a throw?
This is how,
Viper down now.
This
what the
games,
hell was
This is
that?
how games are thrown, ladies and gentlemen. getting way too obsessed with Roshan and not committing quickly enough.
I don't think they should have fought. Like, there's just no.
They probably shouldn't have, but they were giving the impression that they would because they bought it on the Visage, right? But then nobody went, and they're like, "Well, we have to make something out of this buyback for Visage, so go." And there was just like these mixed emotions on their team.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the sunk cost fallacy in action in Dota. Look it up; it applies.
I believe you. Yeah, I don't know. There's something about that where like you buy back and the rest of your team feels like obligated to do something, right? Because you're like,
no, that's what it's.
God, I can't
throwing good money after bad.
Yeah.
That's the concept. Like you spend money in an unwise way, and you feel bad about it, and you feel like the only way you can justify the bad spin is by making another bad spin that maybe could go good.
Yeah.
Also,
I do agree with you. They probably shouldn't have fought because they didn't have Ravage up for 15 seconds. Like I said, the only way they could have fought that is to like make them scared, like Haunt, make them scared and Roshan are like, oh crap, back up from Roshan for a second. And those seconds would have given the time for a Tide, but that's all very situational. So I still think the bottom line, they shouldn't have fought. They should have just given up Roche. And I think a lot of teams get obsessed with Roche, like they think it's the end-all be-all. But I don't think, like sometimes it is, but in this instance, I don't think it is. I think they can deal with an Aegis. They've shown before that they can.
Yeah, they're sufficiently farmed. I mean, again, this Spectre now does feel, you look at the inventory, and even though it's worth a lot, you're just like, it's a Radiance and Manta and a Heart. That's all. Got some boots and magic wand. But just how that works on this hero is just so disgusting. And, I don't know. Like, I feel like IG might be kind of screwing the pooch a little bit here. I feel like they had a ton of momentum and really had LAI gaming on the ropes. Now they pulled back into their own jungle. And this is where LAI wants to be. This is where they've had their success, going and finding fights and just letting XTT go straight unconscious on this Tidehunter making plays. There's going to be a quick Yules on him. There's going to be the Stampede coming back in. There's going to be another Ravage. Got two. Didn't see if he got anyone on the high ground, but he does go ahead and refresh and use it. However, Ferrari got off the BKB, but it doesn't matter. They're kiting him around. There's going to be the Abyssal onto the Viper. Viper able to get away. No, not quite. Ferrari actually does a ton of damage to himself. There's that cheese. The Aegis, not all they got off that last Roshan. Got themselves some dairy and secure themselves one of the best, two more familiars to cap it off. That's one of the best engagements IG has had in quite some time. And definitely the cheese, the mitigating factor there. 3 for 3, Rubik, Viper, and Visage drop in exchange for the Centaur plus Ogre and AA.
Yeah, a lot of things about that fight. One, the cheese became a huge issue, as you saw. They still have the Aegis up on the Weaver, but that'll be expired relatively soon. This is one of the few times I saw a minor hesitation from the Tidehunter as he didn't get the Ravage off super fast, and actually BKB came out from the PA. You do see here though the BKB on PA is down to 6 seconds though, and you can see how it's starting to make a small difference in these fights. and it's going to be much easier to kite it when it does actually get down to 5 seconds. Because even though, yeah, she did have the cheese, she crit Viper the last second with Viper having the blade bell up, and it almost killed her. But the cheese did help out a lot in that engagement. So still relatively even in fights. But God, this net worth is still ridiculous from PA, almost 30,000.
28,355. And yeah, I mean, the issue Ferrari's going to start to run into, I think, though, is that, yeah, that brings his BKB duration down to almost the bottom.
Yeah.
He has 6 seconds now. And the time when he should have really been getting a lot out of it is the time when LAI Gaming was really playing out of their mind and kiting out those long duration BKBs. And now it's going to be down to 5 after the next fight. And all the while, the Spectre just continues to chomp away at creeps. 50 minutes in, we've got 49 kills in this game, so relatively active. Luo has 7,000 gold in his inventory right now.
Jeez.
We'll see what he wants to spend it on. In the meantime, we're going to see the Viper using his BKB, caught with the Abyssal from behind, and that's a bit of a waste, as we see right there. So nice pick for them. Viper down for a full 80 seconds. Does he have buyback? He does, if he happens to need it, but doesn't look like IG wants to press the issue any further.
And that's an MKB coming out from PA, and I like this pickup. I think he's anticipating perhaps a butterfly coming out from Viper and or the Spectre. So he doesn't want his last item to be a useless one if he thinks, say he buys something else and he's like, oh, there's a butterfly, crap, now I have to sell an item, but he's 6-slotted. So I think there's a smart pickup. And there's a dominating streak coming up for Spectre as he gets a nice pickup onto Chuan. Of course, it's a lowly support, but every little bit helps when it's a Spectre. And there's the Aegis Reclaim. So yeah, as you mentioned, a shitload of gold. Sorry, I should stop cussing, but a lot of gold up on the Weaver as now it looks like he might get a an MKB of his own. So,
yeah, the damage output, I think it's we've both said it in 2 roundabout ways. It's all going to just come down to who takes a fight on which terms. I mean, you've got a BKB up on these 2 cores, but they are getting very low. 7's actually, Lewis, I thought he was down to 6 as well. He's got 7, so that's not too bad. But BKB's up on them. And you've got a great hero to buff them, even through BKB. And, wow, Rubik. Dead Skis gets 3 shot after the Abyssal as well. But, you know, can the Tide hit those 2 Ravages and do what we've seen him do most of the game, which is just blow these fights wide open? Is the Viper going to be able to survive now that the damage for Ferrari is so egregiously high? Are they going to be able to use the Viper Strike to kite out Ferrari? And right now, I actually like the way IG looks. I think they got through that tough zone where the Spectre was really feeling threatening. They got that big Roshan that gave them a couple of fights. And now with, as you said, it's actually a Daedalus pickup on the Weaver, so Luo just going to be hitting for crit. But I feel like their items are actually in real nice position for them to try to not just take a fight, but try to go high ground not long after.
Yeah, the scary thing is I still feel like as 6-slotted as this PA is, if she gets caught out with the Ravage, a double Ravage, I still think she dies. And as long like if they're able to coordinate it like so well they have before, they have to make sure they completely burst her down, because if she comes up and she's not dead and she has the BKB ready with the Satanic, she will kill everyone. But
literally,
she will. So, but it is, like you mentioned, it is a 6-second BKB, and we've seen these Tide Ravages be so successful in the past. So it just really comes down to initiation at this point.
Yep. Both teams content to sit back and farm. Luo, as we mentioned, when Crit got the Crit Stick, the Daedalus up for himself. The Spectre has picked up a Talisman of Evasion. Now, as you know, I can only assume he spotted the MKB up on Ferrari. Is Butterfly still an option, or do you look to go outside of the box and get something like a Halberd?
On the Spectre?
Yep.
Halberd wouldn't be bad, but I don't see why you would want to get... You wouldn't want to get... But Butterfly is so good for illusion-based heroes because your illusions get the benefits of the agility and whatnot. So
right.
I still think Butterfly is the Oh, I'm wrong. It is going to be the Halberd. So Halberd's still good because his BKB duration is low, but it is interesting because I think, yeah, your illusions benefit so highly from the agility. So
I think they're just so that, like, if they could just deal with Ferrari. I mean, Ferrari's a raid boss at this point. I mean, he is impossible to deal with. He's got regen, etc., etc., etc. The Satanic, as you had mentioned. Weaver, they've shown, as tanky as he is, and especially going crit instead of MKB, although MKB might not be that far off if he wants to replace his TP scroll. But, you know, he's just not as big of a threat, I don't think, as they consider Ferrari to be. And with the BKB duration low on him, if they could just bring Ferrari down, disarm him, and go to work, I think they're confident they can, even if it's just with buyback Haunt, which might be a part of it at some point if XDD wants to hang on to it and just fight it out, and if he dies, buyback and Haunt, they'll be able to clean a fight up so long as Ferrari's not in it.
Halberd kind of indicates to me that late gaming wants long, drawn-out team fights because, like, if they're going to kill him and burst him down and Ravage, he doesn't need the Halberd, right? Because there's no reason to disarm him if you're going to burst him down. So it's kind of like a safety net, is if they don't kill him and his BKB's down, they can just cast it onto him when he uses the Satanic and he can't actually attack you to get that life pool back. So it's kind of like a safety net sort of item and that rewards late gaming and long, drawn-out team fights.
Thought we were going to have a clash down near the bottom rune spot. Not going to be the case. LAI was really in a precarious position, and Tide was there to ravage if need be. But instead, yeah, there is. Let's see who's drawing that. Looks like that's a Viper, so that would be XZ that is drawing it and looking for a hook around, perhaps. But yeah, at this point, all we can do is sit back and watch, which is a nice place to be as a commentator. Both of these teams have a tremendous amount of initiation and kill potential. Both have the ability to capitalize on any mistake the other side makes, and this is where you want to be. Just see who outplays who.
Yep, good old Chinese Dota 2. As we're seeing it come to the late stages of the game. And yeah, I've said before, it all comes down to initiation, and I'm wondering what kind of... Dear God, this Visage is so underformed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's an hour-long game, and you don't even have an Ags. Just going the pure support route, I suppose.
Ooh, they're trying to do a cutesy Roshan here. They got a lot of wards down. They have vision up here on the high ground. They're going to know if they want to come. They should have at least some vision of these steps. Let's see if they'll spot Ferrari. They come along the edge. Yeah, they're going to back out now after the swarm. And whoa, super! Blown up, drops another Jin. There's going to be the Ravager. They got Ferrari before he got the BKB. Can they bring him down? They can. They trade the Visage and get Ferrari in exchange. They're going to be A-okay with that. Buyback immediately with bots, rush bot, just to make sure that he was not going to be leaving his team out to dry. But that's what they've been doing so well all game.
His BKB is down, though. He used it already.
Yeah.
His Abyssal Blade is down. If they get another good Ravage, this could be potentially game losey.
Up here we go. Oh, he's going to catch Luo. Luo BKB, though. Ferrari, however, did not. He's going to be able to get away, but here comes June looking for the fight. Manages to bring down the Rubik. Now going to work on XZ. XTT spent the Ravage. Can't do much else. Trying to retreat. There's going to be an Ice Blast that comes out as of right now. Buyback on the Rubik. The Visage still hasn't respond. June, in the meantime, trying to pursue him out. Gets hit with the Viper Strike. Here comes the Ogre, along with Luo behind him. XTT blinks in, gets off the Anchor Smasher, all choked up. And here comes Spectre going to work behind him. There's the Rubik off of that buyback. Chuan in trouble as well. Going one-on-one as the supports Luo. In the meantime, trying to clean things up. Ferrari down. Spin his buyback. Not going to have it. And Luo down as well. Full 5-man wipe. And what could be the game-determining engagement goes the way of LAI Gaming. That's exactly what you were saying, my friend. They wanted to drag these fights out, and boy, did they.
Yep, the Halberd actually came in a nice play, but I think there's two things. It's the amazing Tide Ravages. He's just been on point the entire game. And the Viper kiting the crap out of this PA, man. Like, the Viper is doing so much work in these fights. And to answer your question earlier, like how much of an effect he's going to have, it's a massive one, man. Yeah, he's just going to pop the cheese, grab his plate mail, and be on with his merry way. And that's 83 seconds of absolutely no PA involved. The Centaur does not have buyback for 20 seconds. The Weaver does, but I don't think Luo does, like, really anything in these fights. I almost question the Radiance pickup.
Well, that's
I don't think it's doing enough.
That's kind of what I was saying earlier. Like, if they can just deal with Ferrari, I don't think they're going to worry that much about Luo. Like,
yeah.
he just hasn't been that much of a threat. This is going to be at least one, if not two sets of racks. Buyback on Luo. He waited. He's got to be careful. Again, without Ferrari and with all five still standing, Ravage or not, I don't think they're that worried about this. And yeah, they're just going right for the lift. As you said, Hans up. Here comes June coming back in. BKB up on the Viper. He's going to try to stampede himself back to safety. Luo doing some damage, but there's going to be... He stole Stampede. Uses it on his own side. One still down. That's just Ferrari. Still waiting to try and wait 30 seconds. Racks down in mid. And yeah, what are they going to do? Luo just can't do anything on his own. June comes back in to try and buy time.
Oh
Spectre's gigantic, and he's brought down as once again XDD, who took a while to come online. Now that he's there, they're not likely to lock him offline anytime soon. Luo going to be lifted. Look at the damage. Force the time lapse. Now all the way back. Ferrari up in 10 seconds. Damage is done, though. And they catch XDD on the way out with a fire blast. But, oh, wow, there's a Ravage. Doesn't catch the Ogre, though. Can they get Luo? Yeah, they'll expend another Ravage to bring him down. Ferrari's going to come back in now, though, and ready to wreck some face, looking for a target. He's going to engage onto the Viper. Viper gets caught, uses that Blade Mail, though, and Ferrari just going straight up man mode. Has the Satanic to use if he wants. The Aegis in the meantime, though, have him back up in just a moment. He's going to go ahead and try to engage on Super.
Oh, that's the second ulti from Rubik of the Centaur.
Yep, and XDD's on his target. He's going to be able to blink to a friendly Ogre Magi up on the high ground. There's going to be the Yules used to get the Spectre off of him. But now he has Stifling Dagger. If Rubik can catch someone, he can slow them. So Ferrari comes back up, but that Aegis had not expired. And yeah, look, the Viper just doesn't care. Going to work on the tier 3. And the Ogre going to make his way over. But pretty sure we're at ball game, my friend.
Yep, he bought bots and got up to the top. And I don't think BKB is up and ready to go for Ferrari for another 12 seconds. He's got to go in. He has no other choice.
And they're going to be able to do a lot of damage here. There's going to be a lift on a Ferrari, though. Look at the damage he's eating. June, oh, actually stunned out of it by the telekinesis when he fell back down. Now there's going to be a stampede, this time used by IG. They want to try to chase them down. XTT, no mana, not a lot of health. Juan cutting off his path of escape. So they managed to get 4. Jeez, 1980 crit, not bad. They get 4, but 1, they don't get the Spectre, and 2, guess what they don't have? Racks anywhere. All 3 lanes cleaned out, and IG down to desperation mode. Time to rush a lane.
I think XDD is a pretty wealthy Spectre too. He's got a lot of gold under his belt. This is exactly why when you compare the hard carries, the quintessential, like I talked about at the beginning of the game, the quintessential hard carries of the meta game, or just in the game in general, and who comes to mind, I still say Spectre. Like, you can get 2,000 crits on PA, one shot even other carries, and just be devastating in a fight, but it does not compare to the usefulness that Spectre has in the late game amongst the whole team. And we're seeing that at this game. Yeah, that's kind of... Hopefully it's a second Radiance, because I do not want to see a throw this large. Yeah, I do. Okay, good. It's an Abyssal.
Oh, an Abyssal. Aww.
Sorry, I don't know why I blanked that out of my mind. I was like, please no freaking Rapier. But
I was hoping you would, but I'll take it. Obviously, the Abyssal makes a smidge more sense in a competitive environment. Nonetheless, the damage is done, and this is going to be your game-defining fight. IG has to win and has to win hard. Buyback status.
There's a chance. Because Viper comes up, he has no buyback. He's dead for 30 seconds. Tide's dead for 18 seconds. There is a chance here, actually.
It's coming up with 2 Ravages, though.
And there's a DD on Luo. Okay.
They got to go straight for the house. And let's see if they can do it. Spectre with that Abyssal, looking to lock down Ferrari. First chance he gets. Racks down in mid. Not going to be challenged as of yet. Tide's back up. Refresh is ready in 5 seconds. Already has 1 Ravage up. So if he goes now, he'll be able to Ravage, refresh, Ravage.
That's the spot right there. That's a good Ravage.
Oh, he's going to get them all! Got 4, didn't get the 5th on the low ground, but they got the one they needed. Ferrari pin company. Second one comes out. Luo's down. Ferrari's at half health. He's going to blink and try to go to work using that Satanic. But look at them kite him. Gets 1 good crit that gets him back up to half health. BKB expires,
that's GG.
As does the chance of IG to walk away winners in Game 1. Took us 63 minutes, but an enjoyable 63 minutes it was, as LAI Gaming takes Game 1 over Invictus.
Yep, very well played. Nice draft and just the execution of it. Fantastic play, like MVP hands down to me than the Tide. He just played out of his mind. Universe, watch out, because this Tide player just really showed his stuff this game. So fantastically played by XTT, that's his name. And just consistent carry play from the Viper and the Spectre. And just all around just well played as a team. And I also question, I just think that the Radiance was, what? I mean, for someone that got such good farm after such a terrible laning phase, I feel like the Radiance just did nothing. I feel like it was not warranted to be picked up this game. I think Ferrari did as best as he could with the you know, it's very hard to play PA against Viper. Like, it's actually not that easy. Like I mentioned, the BKB is great against the rest of the heroes, but Viper Strike still going through, it ruins his day. So nicely drafted, but very, very well played from XTT on the Tide Hunter.
As you said, the Tide, the standout, 6-3 and 22. That box score does not sum up his impact. XDD on that Spectre, as you mentioned, making up a lot of ground. Poor Super, 08 and 24.
We got two
Still has-
3-2-2s. We got two 3-2-2s. I see a
Oh.
13-3-2-2 and a 6-3-2-2.
It's a shame you can't bet on this match, apparently. I want to know what's going on, Dota Lounge. I know someone from Dota Lounge is listening. Why aren't we on your website, man? Come on. Pay attention to Reddit. It's where everyone announces stuff. Full schedule's there. And speaking of schedule, our second game scheduled to be coming your way of this best of 3 in just a moment or two. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers, live from our downtown studio here in San Francisco. D2L Season 5 getting kicked off here tonight, beginning with our Eastern action. We're going to be taking a break. All this week, we're going to be broadcasting 2 best of 3s a night for the next 7 days, including tonight. After that, we'll be off air for a little while to make some room for some of the other lands that will be going on. But make sure you check out our up-to-date schedule at d2l.gg, where we're going to have, in one stretch, barring some major change, going to be like 4 best of 3s a day for 2 weeks. So make sure you... Oh, it's going to be lots of Monster Energy, man, for sure. But anyway... Before any of that hits, how about we talk about Game 2? LAI Gaming and Invictus IG trails this series 0-1. We'll see if they can turn the bagel into the breadstick. Been a while since I trotted that one out. But we'll see if they can knot the series up to 1 apiece, or if LAI Gaming is going to be able to make it the second sweep of the night. Again, I'm AC, and that's Trout, not the fridge, the guy on the other side of the microphone. And make sure you stay tuned.